Saying my body, my choice is like saying my house, my rules. It still doesn't give you the right to kill anyone inside of it. We believe that the phrase my body, my choice is far too vague. The logical response to this topic is that just like everything else in life, there are different rules for different situations. If you tried using the same set of instructions for many different board games, certain rules wouldn't make sense and certain rules wouldn't even apply. This is very similar to how saying my body, my choice is not specific enough and doesn't work for all situations. If you tried to use a manual from a car to do repairs on your motorcycle, a lot of things would make sense, a lot of things wouldn't apply, and most instructions that apply for cars would not apply for your motorcycle. If you tried to use a Japanese cookbook to cook an American cheeseburger, nothing would make sense and the outcome would not be the intended result. These examples show how one set of instruction or ideals cannot be used for a widespread category of processes or situations, just like the phrase my body, my choice is too vague and cannot be applied to most situations as it is used in today's society. Our points to back this up are as follows: abortion, vaccinations, and the people's state of mind.
Starting off with our first point, people should not have complete autonomy over decisions on having an abortion. Abortion should never be the answer, except in cases where the woman's life is at risk or where incest or rape is occurred. When considering that all humans have the right to life, embryos and zygotes are no different, and that they are developing human beings. Princeton.edu explains that the life of a human being begins at fertilization, which is just the first stage of developing human being. Meaning, the killing of an embryo or zygote is the same as killing an adult human. The Texas Heartbeat Act outlaws any abortions after a fetal heartbeat has been detected, which is usually within 6 weeks of implantation. This still leaves room for people to have an abortion if pregnancy is detected early, since, like we said, the conclusion, my body, my choice, does not affect all situations.
Our next point argues the topic of vaccinations. The phrase my body, my choice cannot be used for any and all vaccinations because it is too vague. First of all, we live in a world where there are threats around every corner, and travelers entering into New York cause an even greater risk of exposure. The threat of death by disease isn't the only medical consequence of skipping vaccinations. An unvaccinated child faces lifelong differences that could potentially put them at risk. Every time you go to the doctor, visit the hospital, ride in an ambulance, or even call 911, you must alert medical personnel of your child's vaccination so he or she receives the correct treatment. Unvaccinated children can require treatment that is out of the ordinary, and medical staff may be less familiar and less experienced with the procedures required to appropriately treat your child. So if you take your child to the hospital without vaccinations and they have the flu, there is a much greater chance that your child could die from a preventable disease. People who choose not to vaccinate their children also put others at risk if their child isn't vaccinated and becomes ill. Special groups of people cannot be vaccinated, including those with compromised immune systems. Most notably would be people with leukemia and other types of cancers. These people rely on the general public being vaccinated so their risk of exposure is reduced. There are also social implications of not vaccinating your child, from exclusion to quarantine. If sick or exposed to disease, your child may need to be isolated from others, including family. If there is an outbreak in your community, you may be asked to take your child out of school and other activities they are involved in, causing your child to miss out on other events. We all know this well with coronavirus, and not getting vaccinated would just make things worse.
This brings us to our next point. 52.9 million Americans battle mental health in the United States. These individuals are in a conscious state, yet shouldn't be able to make decisions like my body, my choice, without being in the correct state of mind. Similar to how intoxicated people with drugs or alcohol are not allowed to use a vehicle, or how many tattoo parlors will refuse business if they notice someone is under the influence, because these people are incapable of making their own decisions without a clear conscience of the repercussions. Mental health problems can give you the same or worse decision-making skills as biblical peace. Mental health can make someone not understand the consequences of their actions, can lead them to make a decision that they do not want to make.
So in conclusion, we believe that the phrase "my body, my choice" as a phrase is far too broad and cannot be applied for all situations. We believe this given our listed points: abortion, vaccinations, and the people's state of mind. Saying "my body, my choice" is like saying "my house, my rules." It still doesn't give you the right to kill anyone inside of it.